All right, so we just had the most amazing interview. You guys are in for a treat. Today, we have on the show as a guest, Evan Carmichael. And Evan at 19 built and sold a biotech software company. At 19, at 22, he was a venture capitalist raising $500,000 up to $15 million. And he now runs the biggest YouTube channel for entrepreneurs with over 2 million plus subscribers. And he doesn't stop there. He's got 4 books, speaks globally, and wants to solve the world's biggest problem. He's set out to really break 2 world records using a trampoline and stand-up desk, and owns Canada's largest salsa dancing studio. And he has a giant bag of Doritos in front of him all day to remind him that he's stronger than the Doritos. You're in for a treat. Check this show out. Let's do this. All right, so welcome back to the Jason and PLE Project. Absolutely excited for today's guest, Evan Carmichael. Hey, Evan, how you doing?
I love the energy, man. This is great. I'm pumped to be here.
Good. So I am too, man. And I thought back and forth. Where do I start? Where's the question I want to ask you first, right? Because I know at this point there's so many ways we can go. What's the focus of your day? What is that first thing you focus on daily?
The most important thing is having an intention for the day. So how I structure my days is I have my morning routine, but then every day I do something different. So Thursdays, when we're recording this video, is my public facing day. So I'm an introvert naturally, but Thursday is the day that I do all my extrovert stuff. So I have my Movement Makers program, my training, and then I've got interviews all day long until 9 o'clock at night when I finish. And it's like 25 minutes on and 5-minute break in between each one. And so that's my Thursday. Tomorrow's gonna look totally different. Yesterday was totally different, but every Thursday, that's what I do. And so when I wake up, I'll usually put on, this is what I do. I grab my phone, I put on a song. I have a preset playlist of songs that get me going, because when I wake up, I'm not going, right? When I wake up, it's not like, yes, I am ready to conquer the day, right? That doesn't happen. I wake up, I'm tired. Like, what time is it? What direction am I facing? I get my phone, put on a song that gets me fired up. I'll go to the bathroom, and while I'm in the bathroom, I'm looking at my day. It's already been planned, right? And I'm looking at my day, just intention. What do I want to do today? What's my intention for the day? And so today I want to show up for Jason. I want to show up for the people who I'm going to be connecting with and talking with. It's reminding myself that, yes, I'm just in my office talking to my video camera, but this message is being broadcast out to people around the world. And so that's what I want to set for myself for the intention. And then the background on my screen, I don't know if we can see it or not. It says here, maybe it's probably too hard to see. It says, remember your intention. And so it's like a constant reminder. Every time I load my phone, there it is. Remember what was my intention this morning again? Yes, right. That's what I want to do. And so I think that's one of the most important things that I do every morning.
I love that. And you labeled yourself as an introvert, right? So there's a lot of people who do that and stop there and say, I can't break out of my comfort zone because I'm an introvert, right? What is an actual step that you can relay to the listeners for those so-called introverts that just are trying to find a way to break out and just don't know how to? Well,
comfort zone breaking is something that introverts and extroverts have to do. It's really just thinking, okay, if you never do anything that's outside your comfort zone, that means you're just doing things that are inside your comfort zone. That means you're just photocopying your same day over and over and over and over again, which means you end up hating your life, right? So if you're never bumping up against your comfort zone, whether it's starting a podcast or doing interviews with people you respect or asking that girl out or making that phone call or whatever the thing is that you're afraid to do, whether you're introvert or not, you have to do it. Otherwise, you're teaching yourself that here's something that scares you and you play small. Here's something that scares you and you don't do it. And that's the pattern that most of the world is in, by the way. I don't think that's like, I'm not trying to call people out. I think that's where most people are at. That's why most people don't like their life right now. Introverts specifically, the thing that helped me was recognizing that I still want to serve. I still want to help. This is the thing of, you have a mission, you want to do something. whether it's a big mission. Chances are people listening to your show have a bigger mission, want to do something bigger than themselves. But even if you don't, you still want to serve the 25 closest people to you. Serving others is hardwired into your brain. So serving others, though, depends on others. So if you're afraid of disappointing people, if you're afraid of that you're an introvert, you have to be able to marry those two and say, yes, I'm an introvert. I'm not going to be the life of any party, but I still want to serve and I still want to help. And you can do that by still being a speaker. You can do that by still getting in front of the camera. You can do that by, I much prefer something like this where it's one-on-one, which is me and you. This is fantastic for me. If it's a giant group, I'm probably the wallflower, not talking to anybody. I try to create marketing where then people find me and then want to have the one-on-one conversations. Even speaking on stage at events is really just permission for people to find me in the halls afterwards, because I'll stick around for 5, 6, 7 hours in the hallways just having the one-on-one conversations, which I really enjoy. So knowing that you still want to serve, you still want to help, and being introverted can actually be a superpower because we're great listeners and we care. And it's not about hearing your own voice talk. It's about trying to help the other person heal and get a result.
And so you spoke about having remember your intention on your phone, right? It's something that comes across a lot. And if you get to your day and you see that in your phone and you say, you know what, right now I'm off track. Is something you do to reset or to find your focus again on that?
The hardest part is just finding that you're off track, not getting back on track. I think we'll fall off track automatically. That's why it's on my phone, because we'll fall off track. You know, I'm even mentioning it at this interview was great. It helps me remind what was my intention again? It helps me remind myself of it. And just before this, right, I was on another interview and then I had a 5-minute break. On that 5-minute break, I went to go get off my trampoline and go pet the dogs and then remember my intent. Who am I talking to next? Jason. Here's how I want to show up for Jason, right? And so that's why I have these little 5-minute breaks in between each one, is to reset my intention and remember again. So you can have a dedicated practice. I think getting back on is actually easy if you can recognize it. I think we fall off track and never catch it. And then hours go by and you feel like you wasted the day, but you didn't just catch it in the moment to say, ooh, I fell off track. And you may not catch it right away, but even like 5 minutes later to catch it, to get yourself back on track.
I love it. And are you actually on the trampoline right now?
Yeah. I'm on a trampoline. I'm on a stand-up desk trampoline. I actually hold my arm usually when I'm doing interviews. I'm like this or like this or something, just holding my desk so that I don't bounce, because naturally I bounce, but it's kind of distracting when you do an interview. It's saved my health in a ton of ways. I'm a big advocate, but I'm on my trampoline.
What gave you that idea? They said, okay, I need to put this in my life because I'm naturally balanced, but something that pushed me so I'm not just standing in that place. Is that the thought process?
So the stand-up desk was my first step, and that was, 12 years ago, something like that. Before it was a thing, really. Like I heard somebody mention it, and I love just testing stuff. I just love trying it. Like instead of judging it, instead of coming up with all the reasons why it's not going to work, just give it a shot. So I took my laptop and I put it up on a bookcase that felt was kind of at arm height, and I got really tired after 30 minutes. When you're not used to standing up, you get tired pretty easily, which was surprising. But I thought, okay, I'll keep trying it, and I got to the point where, hey, I actually felt better. I feel more energetic when I'm standing up. When I used to do phone calls, I would always pick up my phone and then walk around because I feel like I have more energy than sitting down. And so I practiced my laptop. Then I bought a stand-up desk that was actually a stand-up desk, not just me kind of working at my laptop at a bookcase. And then I was doing that for years. Then how did the trampoline come? Tony Robbins, we did a video on Tony Robbins, and his before he walks on stage, he has a mini trampoline, a rebounder backstage, and he'll take like 3 big bounces and then go on stage. I thought, that's pretty cool. What if I got a trampoline and just, instead of just doing 3 big bounces before I start my day, but I actually worked on it all day. And I just got one and I tried it and I loved it. I had to raise my desk even higher. It's not like max height, because most stand-up desks don't accommodate for 6'2" guy, but then another 6 inches on top of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have
so
one. I'm 6'2" as well, and
yeah.
it maxes out right there. Yeah.
It's really just about trying, right? It's just you get an idea, find the smallest way to do it instead of overjudging, overthinking, over-planning. Get that idea and take action on it. You want to start a podcast? Awesome. Get your phone and record your first podcast. And don't expect it to be perfect. But the biggest thing most people is missing is just momentum. Like, there's just no momentum. You've got great ideas, great talent, great heart. Like this is what frustrates me is the amount of people who have such a huge heart and desire and want to do good, but then they don't because they're afraid. And the only thing they're missing is momentum.
What's the last idea that you've tried that you've ruled out and said, this isn't for me, or this isn't right for our direction?
I don't know, lots. Even the microphone. Like I had my microphone right in front of me like this, but then I was talking into it and popping my P's a lot. It's like, oh, I've got a bunch of interviews coming up, so I got to move it to the side a little bit so that I can show up for Jason. It'd be great. But that's a little tiny, like that was a today example, but there's lots of those, right? From the thumbnails on my YouTube channel to the videos that we're going to put up or not, to, the interviews that we say yes to or not. Like there's always things that is being tweaked. Even my daily routine, even my daily calendar, things that I look at and say, I don't think that serves me as much anymore. I'm not getting, what was my intention? It's not serving that intention anymore. So I'm going to swap it out and put something else in every day. I think just quickly, I think the key is to make lots of those micro adjustments, because what ends up happening is people end up hating their life so much that then they have to make a macro adjustment. They got to make some big change because they've hated their life for the past 5 years because they didn't make enough changes along the way. And so that you don't get to that point where you absolutely hate your life and have to go do something crazy, making constant adjustments and changes on a daily basis.
I find that so many people are aligned that they don't want to try something that could obviously make their life better because they've never tasted that potential success or happiness, right? So it's more comfortable to be in their state, even if it's not, because it's easier for them to stay accustomed to that. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, it's just fear talking.
Yeah.
So, how do you know what your favorite food is? Well, you have to try a bunch of foods. Like you might love, like the idea of sushi seems crazy to me. I love sushi, but when you think about it, it's raw fish wrapped in seaweed and some rice. Like, I don't know that I want to do that. It doesn't feel like it's something that it would be tasty, but then you try it, like, oh my God, that's amazing. Or you might try it and say this is the worst thing ever. But the fact is you don't know until you try it. So, say yes once, and especially when it's your own ideas. It's not even that Jason's telling you to do something. It's yourself telling you to do something. Like, where did you get that idea from? Stop judging it. Trust that the ideas that come to you are genius and do something about them.
So when we're going to flip a little bit into content creation, when I say the words content creation, what's that first thought that comes to your mind?
Making videos for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, getting your message out. Ideally heart-centric, like you want to serve, you've got a mission, you want to help people, and you have a message that can actually help people that, the Jason from 5 years ago really needs to hear, and you just keeping it inside you isn't doing any good.
That message that you put out there for someone looking to find their message, is there steps, or is there a first actionable step they should focus on to begin to that journey?
So I go through this in deep in my book, Built to Serve, which basically outlines that entire process. But super quick, I have a 3-step process called Who, Why, How, and your why is your purpose. So your why is your purpose, and your purpose comes from your pain. So whatever you struggled with the most is the thing that you want to help other people through. So whatever you struggled with the most 5 years ago, 10 years ago, like whatever the most painful moment in Jason's life, not physical pain, like you broke your arm or something, but emotional pain. When did you feel just worthless as a human being? When was that deepest, darkest moment in your life, right? Understanding that there's lots of people who currently are that Jason, right? You've come out. You're not where you want to be yet. Nobody is, right? You want to keep growing and learning and climbing more mountains. Awesome, but you're way better than you were before. if younger Jason, who was at the depths of the lowest moment in his life, were to look at what you're doing now and having this show and interviewing people who you look up to and respect, and say that's not possible. That's not possible. You are an impossibility to the Jason from 5 or 10 years ago. And so recognizing that there are millions of people right now who currently are Jason from 5 or 10 years ago, that's who you want to help. We are hardwired to help. Serving others hits the same part of the brain as having food and having sex. So you want to help. You know how good it feels to help somebody, whether it's get a birthday present, or you hold the door open for somebody, or you surprise, act of kindness, buy the coffee for the person behind you in line or something. That feels good in the moment. But when you can help somebody who is a younger version of you, and not by age, just by the problems that you went through, and you see that younger version of you, and then you talk to them and you open up their eyes and you give them hope that, oh my God, I don't have to stay where I'm at. I could become something more. That's a level of purpose, of love, of warmth, of a high that you'll want forever. And it will never get old. You'll be 95-year-old Jason still wanting to help those people. So that's a quick overview of how to do it.
But I love that, because you get that actionable step, but that's the first step to get started. And so many times we align ourselves with like this big goal, right? Like I want like the perfect woman in my life, or I want this huge house around that point, but you don't think of like, okay, what is that first step? So you never go after it because it seems too far outside of your mind. If I was to give you and put a genie right by you and grant you a wish, and this wish allowed you to make all of humankind instill one principle, what would that be?
To believe in their Michael Jordan level genius. I think the world's biggest problem is people don't believe in themselves enough. That everybody has Michael Jordan level genius at something. And if you hate Michael Jordan and you're not a Bulls fan, then whatever. Warren Buffett level genius, pick somebody else. I went on a podcast with a guy who was in New York. He's like, I hate Michael Jordan. Like, okay, great. Patrick Ewing level genius, right? Doesn't matter. You're the best in the world at something. The best. Like, you're the Michael Jordan of something. And chances are it's not what you went to school for, and it's not what your parents did, and it's not what your community wants you to do. It's something totally outside and different. So step one is actually believing that is actually true. Most people would not think that they're the world's greatest at something. And then two, okay, if you actually believe it, then are you taking the steps to go off and chase it down? And then most people aren't doing that either. So yeah, I mean, that'd be an amazing world where everybody is actually living their Michael Jordan level genius. That's what I'm doing. I just don't have the magic genie, but I'm trying to do it through shows like this and in my YouTube channel and my books and my events, all of it. That's what I'm trying to unlock every time I meet somebody.
Wait, if you were to put your Michael level genius into one sentence, what would that sentence be?
Mine?
Yes.
Like Evan Carmichael? I believe in people more than they believe in themselves.
Love that. I love that. And it's true, right? Because it's so many times.
It's true, dude. It's true. Like, it's true. I mean, I look at, and this is especially for the high achievers, because the high achievers, and probably people listening to your show, a lot of people listening might be the highest achieving in their group. And everybody's telling them that they're amazing. And I'm sure you get that in your life too, where people look at you and say, your high school buddies or university buddies, and say, wow, look at what you've done. This is crazy. You're doing this show and you're interviewing people, and look at everything, which is great. And it's not meant to say you suck, you're a terrible human. It's great. But dude, this is nothing compared to what you could do. Like, this is the best Jason. Nah, there's like 100 more layers of Jason that we could uncover and build and grow, right? And it's just that nonstop, constant belief in the person that they could be doing bigger, better things.
And for yourself, you've put some dynamic team members around you, and Sandra being one. She was amazing with all the booking there. When you're looking for those team members, how do you identify what team member you need to help you take yourself further along down that journey to your Michael Jordan level genius?
So I would split that up. I think you can't rely on your teammates to push you, especially employees, to push you. It's your job. It's like the other way around. It's your job to see their Michael Jordan level genius and to help them grow and learn. But you can only help them grow and learn to the extent that you've grown and learned. You can't teach them something that you don't know how to do. So you're the leader, and I see a big part of leadership as mentorship is to, if somebody is going to join Jason's team, they're going to become a better human in the process of being on Jason's team, not just editing the video for him, right? That's the mindset I come in, but I don't try to have the people on my team be the ones who now are holding me accountable for playing a bigger game, right? So I think in terms of bringing on a team, it's that leadership mindset that you want to help them grow and be better humans. And then what do you need help with, right? You need help with, like, what's the thing that you're spending all your time on that you shouldn't be spending your time on anymore? If your Michael Jordan level genius is doing interviews, then that's what you should be doing all day long. Like, you should be doing 6 interviews a day. And then how do you get the team to do everything else, to book the guests, to communicate with them, to film and edit and all that stuff so that you can focus on what you're great at? Entrepreneurs tend to wear all the hats. And at the beginning, you should. I don't think it's going to debt to hire this huge team, but we have a hard time giving up responsibility and control when you should, because that's going to accelerate your growth. To spend, if you're going to tie it back to Michael Jordan level genius, I think it's to free up your time to spend more of it on what you're Michael Jordan level at. So at the beginning, you might only be spending 5% of your time on the things that you're actually a genius at, and 95% of your time doing all the other crap that you have to do to run a business. But as you scale a team, the whole point of that is to free up your time to go from 5% to 10 to 20 to 50 to 80% of your time doing a thing that you are the best in the world at. So that's team. I think it's also really important to have mentors and guides and role models. And for me, I get most of it through what I call aspirational mentors. So people who I've never met or may never meet, but being around them with my videos. This is why I do my content. I do it for myself, and then I share it with people, and thankfully enough people like it that I can have a business. But otherwise, I would still do it just for me. But even my office, right? I've got Steve Jobs here staring me down, and I'm looking at my computer here, and there's Steve Jobs every day staring me down. And no matter how big I think I'm thinking, I'm on top of the world. I crushed it. I got 2 million YouTube subscribers. There's Steve Jobs staring me down. It's like, come on. You're just getting started, son. Let's build, right? Like denting the universe kind of stuff. And so whoever that is for you, if it's Steve Jobs, if it's Oprah, if it's Eric Thomas, if it's Jason, if it's Warren Buffett, like whoever those people are for you, being around it every day to push you forward, because achievers often don't have enough of the push from love. You might get a lot of push from people who say, don't do that, or that sucks, or that's a stupid idea. There aren't many people who push us from a place of love to say, hey, what you did was great, but you could be so much more.
So a lot of people get stuck at that point where they won't push forward because they make a mistake and it's so painful to them, or it's so it seems so huge in a moment, right? Can you think back to a moment where you made a mistake, but looking forward to today, you would make that mistake 100 times over because it really propelled you to where you are today?
I just expect to suck at the beginning. Like that, reduce the barrier to get started. Again, the biggest thing missing is momentum. So just expect to suck at the start. It doesn't mean you suck as a human being. It just means you don't have the skill set yet, right? But why do you expect to be great at the skill if you've never done it before? So what episode of the show is this for you?
700 by the time it launches, maybe 800. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, like that's a lot of work. Episode 1 sucked.
Yeah, it was the dark days, we call it.
But that's where most people quit. Is like, oh, I'm going to start a show, and you just expect to be good because maybe you're good with people, or maybe you're good at having conversations, or your friends tell you you're a good conversationalist or whatever, and then you record it and you're like, wow, that was way worse than I thought it was going to be. I was way more nervous than I thought it was going to be. There are all sorts of technical issues. That really sucked. Great, post, right? Yeah. And that's the only difference. I'll post. Right, I'm 6,000 something videos in on my main channel, and most of them sucked. It took me 350 public videos before I wasn't completely embarrassed by myself. I couldn't watch any video back, just totally embarrassed. And then 700 until I watched the video. I'm like, I'm getting pretty good. Yeah. Like, I kind of inspired myself. 700 public videos later, right?
Wow.
So I think people I make mistakes all the time. I just expect to make mistakes. When I hire somebody on my team, I expect them to make mistakes too. When I invest in a business, I expect them to make mistakes. I expect to suck at the beginning. okay, great, let's get through those mistakes and learn and keep getting better, where most people quit because they expect to be great from day one.
Now we're coming up on time. You have time for one more question?
Yeah, do it.
I think I'll get beat over the head if I don't ask this question. So if you were to go back and no one knew you, no one knew your content, no one knew everything, and you started a YouTube channel again at ground zero, just with nothing out there, no content, where would you start?
If the answer isn't doing the exact same thing, then you're doing the wrong thing. Like I'd be doing the same thing, except I'd be doing it myself because I wouldn't have money, right? So if I had the knowledge that I have now, I would be doing the same thing, and then I'd be trying to help recruit, a videographer and recruit an editor and recruit researchers, and try to build my team by giving them value. So I couldn't pay them, but I would mentor them and coach them and help them. But even if I couldn't do that, then I would find a way to do it all myself. I'd have to scale back production. I couldn't do 6 videos a day on YouTube, but I can get 1 a day out. But I think for too often, like if the answer isn't what you're currently doing right now, then you're doing the wrong thing. You need to go back to those roots, because that's what you're gonna love doing.
I love it. And so, Evan, we got the book Built to Serve. If there's one video that you want people, if they could only watch one video, to go watch this one video of yours, what would you say it is?
Whoever you look up to the most. I don't think there's one video for everybody, but who's your biggest mentor? Who do you love the most? Who do you aspire to be? Who do you like you like how they think, you like their vibe. Every time you're around them, they make you feel better about yourself. There's lots of people in our lives who, when we're around, we feel worse about ourselves. Think about who do you watch their videos or you've read their book and you just feel better. You feel more alive, more ambitious, more creative, more filled with hope and possibility. Who is that person for you? If they're a big name, chances are I've done some kind of video on them. And so that's where you should start to dive deeper into the world and get that ongoing motivation, because it's not enough. Like one day is not enough. If you're fired up after this episode, it's not enough. You need it every day. And the good news is Jason's got hundreds of episodes that you can go back to and listen. So that's where I would start.
Thank you. This has been awesome. Super appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Jason.
Thank you, everyone. Jason and Pili Project. You heard it here. Go check out Evan's awesome content. Built to Serve is the book. Talk to you shortly. Thank you.
Join us for your second cup of coffee every Monday through Friday at noon.
Live every day, bringing us our best content we've done so far. Super excited, super engaging, bunch of great guests. We're here to answer your questions, and we so appreciate you listening. Make sure to check this out.
Can't wait to see you.